Welcome to the Mom CEO podcast. I'm your host, Esther Roach. Join me as we explore the dynamic intersection of motherhood and entrepreneurship. From the challenges to the triumphs, we're here to unravel it all. Get ready for insightful conversations, practical wisdom, and a whole lot of inspiration. Let's embark on this empowering journey together. Hello and welcome to another episode of the Mom CEO podcast. I'm Esther Roach, your host, and today I'm joined by Shabnam, who is also a mom of five and a businesswoman. Hello, Shabnam, and welcome to the show.
Hello, Esther. Thank you so much for inviting me. I'm glad to be here. Thank you.
No, you're very welcome. So if you could please introduce yourself to the audience, tell us where you are, what you do.
So, my name is Shabnam Naz Ansari. I'm the CEO and founder of the Volunteer Well organization. I am based in Grimsby, Ontario, in Canada. And in terms of the charity, I have started this charity 2 years back after spending over 28 years in the financial services sector. I am mother of five children, four as my biological and one as my bonus daughter from my current husband. And that's a bit of a nutshell. I also set up a for-profit organization. It's an insurance brokerage. And I set it up from scratch and I handed it over to my husband, who's running it right now, as I am setting up the charity.
Well, you seem to be very busy with so many things that you're juggling there. I know that it's not been just a straightforward journey to get to where you are. Would you like to talk about your journey and how you've got to now, obviously creating the volunteering charity, and then obviously the insurance brokerage, which is on the other side?
Yeah, so the charity is basically by the name of Volunteer Well, and the whole idea of the charity is to connect people together through the concept of volunteering. So right now, what's happening is that whenever people need to volunteer, they have to route it through a middleman, a local charity. Similarly, those who are needing help and support, they also need help and support from that local charity, with the result that not only many people are missed who are deserving because of this middleman involvement, people do not get the joy, that fulfillment, that connection with each other. So the idea of the charity is to remove the middleman and connect people together based on what makes us human, such as love, compassion, care, and justice for everyone. The idea of setting up the charity stems from the lifelong mission that I acquired from my life suffering. So the basic idea, the basic why of the charity is my own personal story. So born and brought up in Pakistan as a Muslim, 13-year long abusive marriage, entered into a legal court battle in the courts fighting for the divorce. It was a 3-year long legal battle in the court because the law has just recently changed, but the custom and the practice has not. Character assassination, end to end, family and friends pressure. I was fighting single handedly, bribing of lawyers by him, me having to change the lawyer, studying the law myself. Finally, after 3 years, when I got the divorce, I gave up on the system. At that point of time, I was the senior vice president at the second largest bank, really up there in terms of my career progression, and really connected to my three children, two girls and a boy. My eldest was 8 years old at the time. So I left when I got the divorce. I gave up on the system. I left Pakistan, went to Dubai in search of a job, couldn't find a job that was equivalent to the level that I was earning in Pakistan and that could let me afford the three children. I came back, and as soon as I came back, he applied for the custody of the children. I was at that point of time at my weakest, didn't have the strength to go through another court case battle, went to the court and handed up the custody of my children with my own hands, him, and left the country as a rebel. So rebel in terms of not just my the country and the systems and the norms, and but also my religion and my people and my friends and my family. I became a rebel to everything.
Everybody.
Um, but later on, when I started understanding my religion, I realized this is not what the divine wants. Everybody is just following the hearsay. So I made up this lifelong mission to really implement the two key principles. The one is that whatever we are given as a trustee, be it in terms of our skills or our time or efforts, it's the due right of others. So volunteering is central to the charity's
Yeah.
purpose. And the second is that we cannot judge or exclude anybody else. We have to connect people based on what makes us human. So shattering the discriminatory boxes is the key principle of the charity. I continue to fight for the custody of my children. Sitting here, continue to fight the court battle in Pakistani courts. Got them reunited with me after 8 years.
Oh, wow.
They're right. They're right now with me. My eldest is now 25-year-old. My younger one is 23, and my son is 21. I have got a bonus daughter, 24-year-old, from my current marriage, and we have a joint daughter of 7-year-old right now. So
Oh,
that's
wow.
how I'm proud parents of 5 children. Um, when I got them reunited with me, Esther, I realized that I am not a mother to them anymore because it's 8 year is a long gap, especially in their formative years. I was not there, so I'm still trying to get to know them, get to understand them, bridge the gap. But through all of that, I found this lifelong mission to connect the communities through the charity so that no one feels isolated. No mother has to go through what I went through.
Oh,
So
wow.
that's just a bit of a why behind the charity.
Your resilience though with all that, because as a mom with your maternal instincts and the connection you had with your children, how have you coped with so many years and the battle as well? It's a lot. 8 years is a long time.
8 years is a long time, right? But it those 8 years has taught me so much in terms of empathy and in terms of trying to put myself into shoes of those mothers who have lost their babies either during the pregnancy or even later on. That
Mm.
at least I had that hope of rejoining or reuniting with them. So I was in a much better position, but those 8 years have taught me so much in terms of the what the children would what my kids would have been feeling in terms of their mother abandoning them, or in terms of that their mother not being with them during those formative years.
Mm.
So that taught me so much in terms of empathy and consideration for those mothers around us, because the motherly instinct in each and every one of us, right? And at times we have had to make tough decisions. It's the better of the two evil choice options that
Yeah.
are given. So I just plan on making this charity as a platform where people make empowered choices,
Mhm.
where people are connected with each other and find that joy and fulfillment that we as community can support.
Wow. It's such an impactful why, and your journey, just listening to it, I just think, oh my goodness, how have you managed to cope with all those things? Two things come to mind. One of them is, how long have the children been back with you now?
They came back to me just at the onset of COVID.
Right.
So when the COVID was just starting, that was the time that they were back with me. And again, that was a period which might have been a period of stress and challenges for others. For me, it was an opportunity because I was practically trapped within the house
Mm.
with them. So just that gave me a little bit of time to really try to bridge the gap.
Yeah.
So that was a blessing in disguise. So they have been with me now for almost 4 5 years now.
Yeah. And how are they coping? Do they understand why you made that decision?
Esther, it's a long process. I celebrated my 50th birthday this
Oh,
year.
happy birthday.
Thank you. And in that 50th birthday celebration, I invited everyone under the sun. People came, my relatives came from America, from even Dubai and Pakistan, in order to attend that birthday because I made such a big deal out of it. And during that birthday celebration, I did two things. I celebrated my 50 years, really celebrated my 50 years in terms of what has happened and how I connect the dots to something bigger and higher purpose for me, and how and what I am becoming. So,
Yeah.
what I was at that point of time, a completely docile, submissive
Yeah.
person, and where I am right now. So I really celebrated that. And then in addition to that, I told my whole story. My children were there. And I told my whole story, and I thank each and every one of them for the resilience and strength at
Mhm.
their. And my eldest daughter, who had to become a mother in my absence, she took the mic from me at the end, and that was simply beautiful in terms of her saying that you have been a non-traditional but inspiring mom for us.
Yeah.
We want you, and we understand everything, and that was so beautiful in every
It,
possible
it,
way.
it would be beautiful because I just think, with that alone, you don't even have to answer the question of how has the children taken it, because they obviously understand. They know your story and they understand. And the hope is that they can deal with challenges. If they come across certain things, they don't have to wait for 13 years. Like you've paved that path for them to be able
Yes.
to know when something is right or not right, and seek that support and that help earlier on. And what advice would you have for other women that are going through it, that don't know where to start or how to stop,
Yes.
because
Yes.
there's so
So
many people going through it.
yes. So and the first and the foremost advice is for us as women is to ignore the norms of the
Mm.
society. We are brought up with certain expectations. We are brought up with certain thoughts embedded in our mind from our well-meaning parents and well-meaning society,
Mm.
asking us to be perfect in all the roles. And then, really, so these thoughts we need to do a lot of self work in terms of focusing on the thought. So as mothers, I would advise us to be a caring and motherly figure for our own self first. So when we are teaching our child to walk or to or anything, we are supportive, right? We say, yes, you can do it. Yes, you have got this. But when it comes to us, we reprimand ourselves. We become critical and judgmental when it comes to ourselves. So the first and the foremost is to really start with our inner work first, and to look at our thoughts and become our best friends first and foremost. So when I was going for the divorce battle in the court, I did that work. I used to go to the washroom in the mirror, and I used to talk to myself. You got this. Yes, I love you. You're amazing. And these are the things that we need to do every morning, day in, day out, day in, day out. You got this. You're great. You're amazing. You're strong. And that is something that we need to do. And we need to at times really block the critical voices from
Yeah.
all around us. So during the time when I was doing that, my mother and my sister used to ask me, how can you be so selfish? How can you do that?
Mm.
How women spend they can give up their lives for their children, and here you are, you're giving up the custody of your children so that you don't have to go back to that abusive marriage. How selfish can you be? And I have to block those voices
Yeah.
because I knew this is not coming from self love and self care. That was a choice of survival.
Yeah.
I had to go for that choice. So just going for that self-work is so crucial. Self-love is so crucial. It's so important. And we have to keep on doing, because what we're doing is we're switching the mindset. We're
Mm.
switching our year-long conditioning from our society. We're becoming rebel. I'm still a rebel in very many ways, right? So, and the second thing is that the reason why I had the edge was because I had focused on my career.
Mhm.
I was a financially, career-wise successful woman. I so that is the first thing that we as women need to do. We need to stand on our feet, and there's nothing stopping us. There's nothing stopping us. It's so beautiful in terms of the way what we can do and what we think we can do. So different.
Yeah, you've actually preempted it. That was going to be my next question of, do you think that being financially independent helped you through this situation? Because, when you look at cases of like domestic violence and abusive relationships, it's a lot of people that are stuck. They feel stuck. They can't go anywhere. They can't, because they can't afford anything. It's almost like you feel trapped, that you can't do nothing. Because obviously you're surviving for the sake of the children, for the sake of having that roof over your head and food and all the essentials. And it just goes on in so many different places in the world, doesn't it?
Exactly, exactly. So I had volunteered to become first responder for women suffering violence. I had gone through all the courses, but I've lived my life, right? So
Yeah.
I know where it's coming. It's a vicious cycle that
Mm.
keeps on repeating in terms of homelessness and abusive partner and depression and mental health conditions, and then just repeating that cycle over and over again. And
Mm.
the only way to break that cycle is to do that self-care, do that inner work, and stand on your feet. That is something that is so crucial, that's so important. So even in terms of the gap between the two marriages, so after going through the divorce, I was very, very clear in terms of who I'm going to be with.
Yeah.
And I had only two conditions. One is I'm looking for that respect more than the concept of love in a relationship. And second, I want a partner who would support me in my role as a mother, who would support me and be there when I'm fighting these court case battles, because I'm not going to give up. I will never give up.
Yeah.
And that's something that we need to be clear. And even in terms of this marriage, I set up the whole insurance business from scratch that he is managing right now. He knows what I can do. He knows what my worth is
Yeah.
financially, and even in terms of the success that we as a couple have achieved.
Mm. Wow.
So
It,
yes,
it's just, you know, I know you're calling yourself a rebel, but I think it's called knowing what you want. It's knowing what you want and what you deserve, because nobody is sort of like second class person, is there? And it's you've got to live your life and be able to make those decisions. But I think one of the most important things that you have as a value is being able to block that external noise, because
exactly.
there's so much of it, and people don't do things because they're listening to so many things, and they can't shut them out, and you've
Yes,
clearly showed and demonstrated that you have to put your
yes.
mind to it and think, okay, this is what I'm doing for me.
Yes, and again, Esther, before we can do the shutting off of the external voices, the internal voice is so conditioned to criticize ourselves, to judge ourselves. It's so conditioned because of our upbringing, because of societal norm, that
Mm.
we have to do the inner work before we can block off the external voices. Because imagine whatever mistake I make, the first thing, even right now, if I make any mistake, the first thing that comes to my mind, you can't do it. You're not enough. You do not have what it takes. This is the first voice in my head, even to this day. And you have to continue to transform yourself, continue to do the inner work day in, day out. You have to
Yeah.
do
Oh, fantastic. It's so inspiring to just hear it from somebody who is doing that and working through to get themselves to the other side. With regards to, I'm going to ask a couple of questions, regarding how you actually manage to balance your roles, because obviously you've got the 5 children like me, so I don't feel so crazy now. And then you've got, the 2 businesses that you're running. How do you manage it all?
Yes, so in terms of my 5 children, 4 of them are obviously adult.
Yes.
So 25-year-old, 24-year-old, 23 and 21, they are all adult.
Mm.
But having said that, I have managed to involve my 23-year-old and my 20-year-old, 21-year-old son in the charity as volunteers. So they are working with me as volunteers. So training them, blocking the time for them is what I have already done in terms of, because because part of my journey is to not only bridge the gap between myself and that 8-year gap that happened, of me being there as a mother, but also them being involved in the charity in terms of them really taking up the initiatives that they have already started. So with respect to my 7-year-old, considering what has happened with my elder children, I am managing the time because she's going to be 7 year old only right now. So what I do is I I go for a hard stop at 4 p.m. It's the time that she comes back from school, and from 4 p.m. and onwards, it's just mama baby time, and we do different things. We spend time together. We do arts and crafts. We play games. We do all sorts of activities, and the idea is to just make sure that it could be selfish that I could get to enjoy those years that I've missed with my elder children.
Yeah. No,
Um,
I completely get it. I've got my daughter is my youngest is 7 as well, so I know, I know exactly where you're coming from. And after this, we've got swimming, so it's like my day sort of runs until she gets back, and then we start. It's like, okay, this is what we have planned for today and everything. Um, and in terms of one of the questions I have is around the charity. So where do you work, and what areas, or where which areas do you actually cover in terms of location wise? Are you just based in Canada, or are you doing this in different places?
so this is a startup charity. We started our programs last year in May only,
Right.
and it is still in the formative phase. We have developed the platform, and the platform is like a marketplace for volunteering. And the platform is available worldwide. In terms of the 10-year vision of the charity, I'm very clear in terms of its presence in over 100 countries worldwide. And that is my 10-year goal in terms of the vision when I'll be celebrating my 60th birthday. So the idea of the charity is to bring together not just the community members. So if you are looking for call to service or offering your help and support and your skills, you can come on the platform. The website is volunteer-well.org.
Okay.
Even if you think that you do not have any skills or anything that you can still become a company buddy for somebody who might be feeling isolated. Just pick up the phone and talk to that person. The
Mm.
idea is to offer your help and support to those who are living around you and to remove that middleman from between. And those who are seeking help and support, they can come on the platform and they can see whoever is offering that help and support around them. And this platform is available worldwide. In terms of the local businesses, and what we are doing is we are promoting the social side of the local businesses. So any businesses who are caring businesses, we are promoting them. We are basically highlighting the people behind the social impact, and we are connecting everyone together. In terms of the nonprofit and charity, sector, we are bringing all the nonprofit and charities together with the common aim of shattering all the discriminatory boxes and focusing on the 7 defined segments. So the 7 defined segments are women, new immigrants, people with disabilities, elderly, youth, low-income families. And the seventh segment is anyone facing discrimination of any sort, be it LGBTQ plus community, non-binary individual, Black, Indigenous, people of color, families, whoever is facing discrimination. So that is where we are connecting, because charities and nonprofits are working in their silos, right?
Yeah.
What if we can join hands together? It's a beautiful vision that I'm living right now.
No, and I love that aspect that you are being inclusive and just bringing different people from various places, together, because that is so important. And I think one of the biggest things that causes issues for people is isolation, loneliness. If you don't know whom to turn to or whom to talk to, then you really have a big problem, don't you?
Yes, I agree. And somehow, ironically, people are focused on, and people would like to box people in different
Mm,
discriminatory boxes. What we need to realize is that we are beautiful as a humanity, not in spite of, but because of our differences. It's like all of us bringing our differences and different part of our cultures and identity together and becoming this one big human family and able to maximize our potential. Imagine we have not been able to go past Moon or Mars for that matter.
yeah.
There's huge potential that we can reach only if we join hands and focus on our similarities rather than what differentiates us, right?
Oh yeah, no, absolutely. I'm completely with you on that, and it's interesting that you mentioned those things because my other hat is skincare, and I talk a lot about embracing yourself and loving the skin that you're in, and it's all about inclusivity and just it's similar to what you're doing, just bringing people together. It doesn't matter which walk of life, but it's getting everyone together, isn't it? And that's important, I think.
Yes, I agree. So
Yeah.
one of the names that we were thinking before we finalized the volunteer well. So
Mm-hmm.
volunteer well is in terms of well in three meanings. So well as in pool of volunteers, well in terms of doing volunteering the right way. So instead of going through the middle charity, directly get in touch with those who need your help. And well also in terms of health and wellness. So when you uplift others, you're basically uplifting yourself.
Yeah.
There's a science of generosity involved, right? So before we were discussing the finalizing the name as volunteer well, we were thinking about community source connect, because that's what we are doing. We are connecting people
Mm.
on the source. There's the same source in you. There's the same source in us. There's the same source in the universe. So connecting everyone to each other and to the source. That's what the aim of the charity is, right?
No, that's just an amazing cause, and something that's really needed everywhere. Is there anything exciting that's coming up? You've talked about your 10-year plan and what you do and offer as a charity. Is there anything else that you'd like the audience to know and how they can get in contact with you?
Yes, so they can go on the website, and the website address is volunteer-well.org. And there on the website, on the right side, there's join the cause, and there are 5 different aspects of joining the cause. One
Okay.
is yes, so you can join the cause in whatever ways and methods that suits you. In terms of something exciting that's coming up, we are going to set it up as a model city, Grimsby as a model city by the end of this year. And then this charity is going to work on a franchise model. And that's how we're going to replicate it worldwide in terms of it being present in over 100 countries.
Oh wow, that's really exciting. It's so I'm going to be following your journey and seeing where you're going with the charity, and I think it's something that's needed in so many different places, and you've got such a brilliant course and a plan of action on how you're going to achieve that. So that's really really impressive. So thank you so much for sharing everything. Have you got any hints or tips or anything, any last few words you'd like to share with the audience?
So the last few words in terms of to share with the audience is the basic idea behind the law of giving and receiving, right?
Mhm.
So when you give, your brain takes it as if you're receiving. And that's what the universe does. So if you are giving anything, the universe responds in multiple ways and many times over. But that is the same even if you're receiving. So what people normally do is they underestimate the importance of receiving. So when you are giving, you are also should be able to be as as welcoming of receiving as well.
Mhm.
Because if you don't do that, you're blocking the cycle. You're blocking the impact. The
Mhm.
cycle needs to continue. So there's no giving without the receiving.
Yeah.
And there is a taboo in terms of hesitation, in terms of asking for help or receiving help. The idea is that we should be as good in receiving as we are in giving. And that's how the universe will keep on getting us in terms of abundance and joy and gratitude.
Mm.
It's so beautiful in terms of really completing the whole
Yeah.
cycle. So if you're into giving, start asking for help. You never ask, you never get. Ask for help. Come out of that hesitation. Come out of that. And at times, the biggest service that you can do for your loved ones is ask for help. That's the biggest service.
No, that's true, because I think sometimes you expect people to just do something, but they don't actually know you need help in that thing. They feel you're capable already. So that is so
Exactly.
so important. I totally agree with that. No, it's been, you've shared a lot of tips, and you've shared so much about your own journey, your resilience, and the purpose and the why, you've got the volunteer well. And I'm so excited to see where you go from here. So like I said, I will be following and watching you, but it's been an absolute pleasure having you on the show.
Yes, it's my pleasure. It has been my honor to be invited by you and for you to become part of this formative period of the charity. I truly enjoyed the discussion. It was so open and frank and welcoming and supportive and encouraging. Thank you. Thank you so much, Esther.